I'm going to share with you today on something that is very touchy, and I don't preach on platforms. I'll tell you tonight, my wife and I have had unbelievable miracles happen, all because of her miracle. And my wife was healed. My wife was given 4 months to live. She had colon cancer, and they took out her colon. And God healed her of cancer. They took out 3 feet of her colon. They could not reattach. I'll tell you the rest of the story tonight. But she's been cancer-free for 22 years. My wife, if she was here tonight, she'd tell the story, but she says, Gary, you tell it better than I do because you were awake for it. And I'll tell you the story tonight, and I'll be praying for people that need miracles in their lives. You don't have enough time for me to tell you all the miracles that's happened in the last 22 years. You don't. You don't even have enough time for me to tell you miracles that happened last year. We've seen kneecaps put back in people's bodies that never had a kneecap, born without a kneecap. Girl in Houston, Texas, God put a kneecap in her body right there in the service. We never laid hands on her. Well, I don't have to. I don't have to touch you for you to get healed. You just have to believe. But I get amazed at people, that say, well, why don't God heal everybody? Now, I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't normally even say this, but I feel like right now the Holy Spirit just nudged me. Where does he nudge me? Right here. How many here, you'll admit it, you've had a bad thought? A lot of you's had bad thoughts since you've been sitting in here. You can't stop bad thoughts, but you can decide how long they stay there. Now, you're going to find I'm tough. I'm not one of your feel-good preachers. I'm not going to give you a little feel-good sermon today. Okay? But here's the whole thing. People always ask me, well, where does God speak? How do you know God speaks? Same place the devil speaks, your mind. It's pretty simple, folks. Good thought, Jesus. Bad thought, the devil. Pretty simple. You get a bad thought, you dismiss it immediately. You don't let it stay there. And what does the Bible say? It says, the Bible tells us we think on good things when we get a bad thought. So you think about the Lord, your kids, your family. I'll tell you where I get rid of a lot of bad thoughts. I think about food. I think about Popeye's fried chicken. Y'all have that down here? That's a Louisiana company, in case you don't know that. I even know the owner. Hello? He used to come to my church when I was pastoring in New Orleans. But I'm just telling you that the whole thing of it is that we can either listen to God or we can listen to the devil. And the devil will tell you a lot of things. And let me tell you something. This part of my sermon, you better enjoy this. You have missed out on a lot of blessings from God because you listened to the devil when God asked you to do something and you didn't do it. I can't do that. The devil will tell you, you can't do that. It's just like sponsoring these kids. The devil will tell you, you can't do that. It's $39 a month. You'll spend more than $39 probably on lunch today. Oh, but I have to eat. Oh, yeah, some of you need to rethink that one. We all have to eat. Hello? I'm going to tell you what scares me. What scares me is when I stand before God, and we all are. And God says, you didn't do this, and you didn't do this, and you didn't do this when I asked you to. And the Bible says I'm going to answer for every deed I do on the face of this earth, good and bad. Am I right, Pastor? That's what it says. That's what it says. And you know what I think? I sat here right there when this lady was getting so blessed. And I just kind of looked around and I saw some people that, that look like it bothered them maybe. Well, let me just help you with something. This is a Pentecostal church. That was the power of God changing something in her life or changing a situation. I don't know exactly what it was, or changing something in her life she needed. So I'm just telling you that, hey, we go to football games or we sit in front of our TV and watch ball games and watch all this, and we scream and we holler, and then we can't say something in church or get a little loud in church. You probably won't like me after it's over. But as long as God still likes me, that's what matters. I don't get ugly. I'm just trying to tell people the truth. Okay? You're not going to have time to turn to all these scriptures. And by the way, I'm reading them off of my phone. And so if you got a problem with that, get over it. I had a lady come up and chew me out because I read scriptures off my phone. You didn't use the Bible. That is the Bible, sweetheart. There's 5 versions on here. Hey, I ain't totally sanctified, okay? I get my sanctification every day, little by little. You jump, I may jump back. I try not to, but sometimes I do. Psalms 90 and 17. Trust me, what I'm reading is in the Bible. Let the favor of the Lord, go back with me. Let the favor of the Lord, go back with me. Let the favor of the Lord. That one word, favor. Let the favor of the Lord our God be upon us and establish the work of our hands upon us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. Psalms 84 and 11. For the Lord God is a sun and a shield. The Lord bestows favor and honor. No good thing does he withhold from those who walk uprightly. And if I'd have wrote that, I'd have put on the end of that, and obeys him. But when you obey him, you will walk uprightly. And when you walk uprightly, you will obey him. Psalms 30 and 5. For his anger is but for a moment, and his favor is for a lifetime. Did you catch that? Weeping may tarry for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Now, I could read to you right there off of this phone 70 verses that have the word favor in them that are in the Bible. 70 verses. There's 110 verses in the Word of God that talks about favor, but 70 of them say favor. The rest of them mention what God will do, which relates to favor. Now, there's not a person in this building today that does not like favor. Not a person in this building. Now, here's the thing. If you don't believe what I say today, just Google it. I used to give people scriptures, and I'd say this scripture, I'd quote that scripture. I quit doing that. I'm not going to do your homework for you. There's 2 things in this world you can't hide from: God and Google. You move tonight, Google will find you in the morning. Just telling you. I Google all the time. I wanted to know something the other day. I was riding down the road and I just spoke into my phone. I don't text while I drive. I don't read them while I drive. But I will talk into that phone and let it talk back to me. So I just Googled it. Gave me the answer I want, and I felt good and went on down the road. But see, the whole thing is just simply the word favor is in there that many times because God intended to bless you. Hello? I love this scripture here. People to say this, and I do love it, but I think some people forget how it is. It says God wants you to be blessed as your soul prospers. He wants to prosper you. Well, guess what? If your soul is prospering like it wants to, you're going to do what God wants you to do. You're going to obey God in what he tells you to do, and therefore your soul and your body and your life and your family will prosper. Now, I know people get upset when we talk about money. And I had a good conversation with God about preaching this. I said, God, you know I'm going to make them mad. They're going to get upset. And God said, that's okay. How can they hear unless somebody tells them? And you tell them the word, because I know you will. God, I got some more sermons. They'll jump and run and shout. They'll get excited like my sister did this morning. And by the way, that thrilled my soul just to watch her get blessed. Right there. Bless my soul. That's what church is for. You don't come in here to sing 3 songs, quote a poem, take an offering. Some give, some don't. Hello? And I have yet to figure this out. I grew up in church. My daddy was a preacher, a pastor. My dad's 92 and still preaching. At 92, still drives his own car, takes me to the airport and drops me off. It's a little scary. I promise you it is. Matter of fact, when he comes to the house and picks me up, I say, you want me to drive? No, I can drive. I said, I know you can, Dad, but, you know, don't stop in the middle of the road. He'll do that. He'll just stop in the middle of the road and look at something he ain't seen. People blowing their horns. One guy come by us the other day and went, hey! Now, Dad said, well, what's he waving about? I said, Dad, he wasn't waving. I said, he wasn't waving, Dad. I said, you don't stop in the middle of the road. Well, they got insurance. I said, they may not, but Dad, I got a life. I mean, every time my wife says, you want me to take your dad? Do you take me, baby? I don't want to call Daddy. A little scary at times. My mom's 93. I took them to lunch the other day, and because they just lived down the street from me, and the reason we moved where we live now is because our grandkids live there. I don't care where my kids live, but I do care where my grandkids live. So I moved where the grandkids live. Well, it just so happened all of our family lives right where we are. My wife's family, my girls, my grandkids. I have 2 girls, 4 grandkids. I know now why I have grandkids, because I didn't kill the 2 I had. That's the reason I got grandkids. And so she says, son, if I don't hurry up and die, all my friends that went to heaven is going to think I went to hell. I said, Mama, if they know you like I know you, they know you just ain't got there. But I've yet to figure this part out. Why is it that people get so upset over tithing? I can't figure that out. I was preaching in a church. Guy come up to me after the service, and I just happened to preach on tithing. Wasn't even this sermon. It was another one. I got about 25 in my little repertoire. I guess that's what I heard a guy say the other day. I thought it sounded good. So I looked up the word repertoire. I asked Google, what does repertoire mean? Google told me, and I thought I got one of those too. I just didn't know I had it. That's like my daddy used to preach when we were in church. My daddy I'd sit on the back row every service with the deacons' kids, and that's the reason I was so mean, because I was playing with them. My daddy would get on me, boy, you come sit by your mama right now. Stop right in the middle of his sermon. And my daddy would say to me, when I get him home, I'm going to do to him what I hope them other 3 boys' parents are going to do to them, because he made all 3 of them go get up and sit where they supposed to. And then my daddy said, when we get home, he said, boy, I'm fixing to knock you to kingdom come. I don't even know where kingdom come is, but I've been there a few times. I didn't even know there was a city named Kingdom Come. But people get upset when you talk about tithing. This book, either on my phone or the Bible, pastor's Bible, whatever, the book says that the tithe is the Lord's. Now, if you don't believe that, you go to Malachi. It's the last book in the Old Testament. Isn't it funny? God left it in the last book before he blasted us with it. Put it in the last book. You give 10% belongs to me. 90 you get to keep. Those are good odds. If I was a gambling man, that's good odds. God said, you keep 90%. Well, let me tell you something. The way I feel about tithing, I'd rather be blessed off of 90% than to be blessed off 100% that I kept. Because you're not going to be blessed off that 100%. And let me tell you something about tithing. Don't you think God won't get it? He may not get it through the church and through the bless the house of God, but I'm telling you where he will get it. He'll get it from the mechanic. He'll get it from the guy at the grocery store. He'll get it. He'll get it from the doctor. Because you're going to have a lot of problems when you don't tithe, because you're breaking the commandment of the Lord. I don't understand how people can come down and sing praise and worship to the Lord and do all the things they do, and yet they're not tithing, because when you're not tithing, let me just say it, you're stealing from God. I can prove it. If you don't tithe, you better start, because you get before God. Wouldn't we hate to know, wouldn't I hate to know that tithing kept me out of heaven? Hello? Let me ask Pastor. Pastor, you got a weed eater? Yes, sir. Okay, I don't own a weed eater. I don't even own a lawnmower. I just tell God, give me $30 every week and Stephen can cut that grass out there. Edge it, blow it off, and go home. I'm not home. Every week God gives me $30 extra. I always got it. I always got $39 every week. When God told me to sponsor them kids, I said, God, that's $390. Like God can't multiply. You know, God said, yeah. And then God said this to me, I'll get it to you. I just have to get it through you. See, there's the problem. And let me tell you, don't you get upset if you're not blessed like you think you ought to be. But if you ain't tithing, guess what? You're not going to get very blessed. And God said this to me. I'm coming back to the weed eater. God said this to me. God said, Gary, I have blessings in store for my people that they have not tapped into yet, because they have not been obedient in their giving. That's what he said. If I go borrow a pastor's weed eater, 10 years later, I still have his weed eater. You know what the world would call me? The people in the world? You know what you would call me? Help me. A thief. Well, you didn't steal it. Oh, yes, I did. I know it's his weed eater. I just hadn't took it back. I know it's not my weed eater. Why am I keeping it? There's a lot of people attending church today, not just here. In other places, you better give God his weed eater back. This guy came up to me after service. He said, church was over. Everybody was leaving. I want to talk to you. Well, I knew by the tone of that voice he wasn't no tither. He didn't even have a smile on his face. He said, you know why I don't come to church more than I do, brother? I said, no, I'm the guest here today. I don't know how often you come to church. He said, because you preachers, all y'all talk about is money. I said, well, let me tell you something, brother. Did I take me an offering today? Did I ask you to give to me today? No, sir. I said, well, I didn't take no money from you then, did I? No. Well, I said, now your record is broken. You can't say that no more. I said, why is it you got such a problem with tithing? Well, I just do. So here's what happened. I set him on the front row. I took my Bible. I went straight to Malachi. I said, read this. He said, I've never read this book. I said, read it. He calls it Malachi. To this day, he still calls it Malachi. He's a Cajun. It's okay. Cajuns talk different. I just read that. He read it. He said, I don't understand that. I said, it simply means, and I explained tithing to him. And I did it in a nice way. I didn't raise my voice. I said, and get this, his name was Bubba. You find a Cajun named Bubba? Now, there's a lot of Bubbas where I live. That's a miracle. I mean, it's his given name, Bubba. Wasn't his nickname, it was his given name. And here's what it did. And so then, and I didn't know his name. He had not told me his name. And here's what I said to him. I said, Bubba, I want to tell you something else. He looked at me. Later he told me, he said, when you call my name, I thought, my God, I'm going to listen to him because God's already told him my name. God didn't tell me his name. I call everybody Bubba. But I thought, boy, that's God's sense of humor. God will use, hello, the dumb things of the world to fool the wise of the world. Let me put it in Gary Sapp language. I explained it to him. I said, Bubba, what'd you make this week? He said, I made $1,000. I said, that's your gross? Yeah. Because let me tell you something about net and gross. Okay? The Bible says bring your first fruits into the storehouse. Okay? Not your second. And your first fruits is your gross. It ain't after they take out your taxes. Hello? There was taxes before you were ever born. There were taxes in Jesus' day. Read the book of Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. They all record it. And here's what it says. Jesus said to Peter, take your little fishing line, go down to the lake, throw it out, and the first fish you catch, open his mouth and get the money out. Get the denarius out, the money, and you go pay what is Caesar's, his taxes, and you go ahead and pay my taxes too. Jesus even paid taxes. Hello? Read it, Google it. Just Google it. You have my permission to Google. Don't be texting. Don't be texting somebody and say, we got a wild preacher in our church today. This man's gone nuts. No, just text some of these things I'm telling you. I said, okay, Bubba, you got to pay on that. That's your gross. Okay, he said. I said, you understand all this stuff now? Yes, sir. I said, you got a checkbook on you? Yeah. Reached in his back pocket and gave it to me. I said, all right. So I wrote out First Assembly of God, $100. I said, sign this, Bubba. He said, what is that? I said, that's your tithe for this week. I said, you're a Christian, right? Yeah. I said, well, you want to remain a Christian, right? Yeah, got to pay your tithe, Bubba. Hello. God can't give you favor when you're taking stuff from God. He can't. His word won't let him. So Bubba, he signed it. We walked out to the door. I gave the pastor a check. He said, what's this? I said, this is your new tither right here, Bubba. I said, he paid his tithes first time today, and he'll be bringing it every week. I was there 2 years ago, and the pastor told me, Bubba's the biggest giver in our church. All because I took time to love on that man and explain to him about giving. See, I want people to be blessed. It bothers me when I know people aren't blessed. And a lot of people in the church world are not blessed because they do pay their tithe, a lot of them, and they don't get any more blessings. Let me tell you, tithing only opens the windows of heaven. Read this scripture. He says, when the windows of heaven open, I will pour out upon you blessings that you cannot contain. That's spiritual blessings, physical blessings, mental blessings, financial blessings. Hello? My wife and I did not plan this. If we'd have planned it, it wouldn't have worked. I just really believe it wouldn't. I live on a budget. If you're not living on a budget, you want to get you one. They work pretty good. Some people just get it and spend it. I got a 19-year-old grandson. If it hits his pocket, it's gone. He tithes because he knows I'll ask him. And I'll tell him, don't you lie to me. You lie to me, I'll whip your big fanny right here in this bedroom. You better be tithing, boy. Hello? It's my job to do that. It's actually his mom and daddy's job. Of course, they tithe too, but I keep him straight as much as I can. I tell my little granddaughters, 7, 11, and 13, you get money from Pops, you tithe on it. And my little 7-year-old, she said, birthday money? I said, any money. And I set them down and I show them how to do it. I said, here's 10 dimes. My Brooklyn 7, she said, I know what dimes are, Pops. I said, you know what a dollar bill is too, don't you? Yes, sir. I said, a dime and a dollar is the same thing. 10 dimes, a dollar. I said, here's how God works, baby. You take this dime and put it over here. That's God's. Those 9 are yours. She said, that's a good deal. If a 7-year-old can figure that out, what's wrong with some of us? Come on. Hello? The whole thing is, the whole situation is the fact that God is wanting to dump favor on you, and he can't because you're not obeying him in your giving. Tithe opens the windows. When you start giving offerings, the blessings come out. Dee and I did not plan this. In 2015, I turned all my stuff in for 2016. In 2016, I turned all my taxes in to my CPA for 2015. I went back to get them 2 or 3 weeks later. Had to go in and sign. We do everything electronically. I went in to sign. My wife went with me. And our CPA is a spirit-filled woman. Her and her husband pastor a church, Assembly of God Church. And Bonnie said, I said to her, I said, how much do I owe the government? She said, you broke even. I said, I broke even with the government. She said, yeah. I said, hold on, Bonnie. Let me get my phone. Say that because I'm going to record this. That I broke even with the government. She said, you did. You don't owe them nothing. They don't owe you nothing. I said, how much did we give away to the kingdom? That's what I want to know. She said, why? I said, I just do. She said, you gave 50% of what you made away, and you lived on 50%. We didn't plan that. We didn't even try it. But when God said take them 10 kids, we took them. When God said give to this one, we gave. When God said do this, we did that. God spoke to us one day. God said to me, I want you to give $10,000 to Teen Challenge in my state. I said, God, I ain't got $10,000 that I can just go whip it right out and give it to them. He said, what did I tell you? I'll get it to you. Hello? I went to a church to preach. I got through preaching, and the pastor said, we're going to pass the plates. I want to bless this man for coming and sharing. I got that check, and I like to fell over. I asked him, I said, he told me, he said, you need to open that check up because it's going to blow you away. I opened it up. It was $8,000. I said, all this come in that offering? He said, every penny of it. And I thought, wow. I've been wanting a 4-wheeler. Hot dog, Jesus. I've been praying for one. Hot dog, Jesus. And the Lord said, Now, I don't know how the Lord talks to you. The Lord said, that's part of your 10 that I asked you to give. I'd already signed that pledge card. I'd give $10,000 because God told me to. I'll get it to you if I can get it through you. We took that check and endorsed it, sent it to Teen Challenge. I said, give that church credit for this. Don't give me credit for it. Give it to that church. It's just coming through me. I wasn't going to put it in my checkbook. I wasn't going to get tempted by the devil to spend it. And within the next 2 weeks, we had the other $2,000. Never been able to give that kind of money away. But that's the way God works. In 2016, it happened again. And in a few days, I'll take my stuff to her for 2017, and I ain't going to even be shocked because I know it's going to happen again. We're living on 50% and giving away 50%. And you're looking at a man today that's totally out of debt. Totally out of debt. Now, I'm telling you all that in case you're taking medicine. It's 12 o'clock. I just don't want you to miss your medicine. I told you that to show you what God will do. Now here's what the devil will say. And he has said this to me more than one time. The devil said to me, he said, here's the deal. If you'd have kept that money, look what you could have done. I said, and you know what, devil? If I'd have kept that money, I'd have disobeyed God. And I'd rather not have the money than to disobey my Lord. So I am not worried about this money one bit. And I just said, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. He'll get it to you in ways you'll never even think about. I never dreamed that church would write me that would give me that. Pastor said, it come in, brother. If it comes in, it's yours. Hello. What you got to understand today, folks, when you pay your tithe, you open the windows of heaven, and when you start giving above your tithe, then the blessings of God really doubly increase. Oh, they'll increase by paying your tithes. Yes, they will. God will show you favor. Not just on you, on your kids. Not just on your kids, on their kids. God says 4 generations down. I tell my kids all the time, y'all are blessed because of me and mama. I said, you're blessed because of me and mama. I'm sitting in my office one day. Phone rings. I look at the caller ID, know who it is. I said, hey, how you doing? He said, I'm doing good. Hey, what you doing? I said, I'm working because I work out of my house. I'm working. He said, good. He said, I was sitting here in my recliner and God spoke to me to pay your house off. Hello? This happened 3 years ago. We built the house 12 years ago. And we financed a few $100,000. You know how it goes. He didn't ask me how much I owed. He said, God told me to pay your house off. And you know what I said as soon as he said that? He said, God told me to pay your house off. I looked at that phone like, I said, brother, you have heard from God. I ain't giving the devil an inch to mess up something. You hear me? So you heard from God, brother. And not long after that, and I called my CPA. She told me what to do. He wrote the check out to Chase Bank. I took it down and paid my house off. I'm just telling you. Why do you want to cheat yourself out of things God will do for you? Hello? You don't think giving $10,000 away was okay? Hey, I'll give $10,000 away to get a few $100,000 taken care of. Hello? See, you tie God's hands. I just want people to be blessed. Because let me tell you why. God don't love me more than he loves this brother. What's your first name? Rory? R-O-R-Y. I like that. There's a golfer named Rory. Professional golfer. Here's the way it works, Rory. If I could write a check today, and I could, I'd write a check for $1,000. And it wouldn't affect my checkbook. Okay? Okay. You could write one only for 100, and it won't affect your checkbook. You're going to get blessed just as much off your 100 as I'm going to get blessed off my 1,000. It's not equal what? Giving. It's equal sacrifice. But now if you know you can write one for 1,000, don't you write it for 100? See, follow me? That's the whole way it works. When God tells Dee and I to give, we give. I said, we give. Because that's the way God works. And it just bothers me when I see people not being blessed because they won't obey God. Now, I'm going to tell you what the devil's doing right now. In a lot of minds, the devil's saying, yeah, he's just doing that, so he'll get an offering. Oh, no. No, matter of fact, Pastor said to me, he did not know what I was going to preach. He said to me, after you get through, I'll take you an offering. Well, I didn't say nothing to him, but I'm going to tell you, Pastor, no, you're not. You're not going to take me an offering. You want to give me something, that's fine, but you're not going. I don't want it. I don't want an offering. Is that okay? I mean, we've known each other long enough we can do that. Because, see, I'm not going to let the devil plant something in your mind. Yeah, he just preached on that because he knows that you were going to have to give an offering and he's just wanting your money. Hello. So I just busted somebody's bubble. Holy Spirit told me, he said, there's people thinking right now that you're doing this so you'll get a big offering. I'm going to tell you like I told Bubba. Did I take your money? No, I didn't. You see, giving it to God is where you should always give it. I don't care if it goes to an individual, to a ministry, or whatever. Just like you sponsor, whoever sponsors these kids today. Let me just tell you what God told me in January this year. God said, everybody this year in 2018, this is the year of blessing. He said, everybody that sponsors kids, I'm going to double bless them. I didn't tell you that before because it wasn't necessary. I'm just telling you what God told me. And is that $390 always in my checkbook? Every week. Every month it's there. I don't have to worry about it. It's always there. I don't worry about it. I put it on my credit card. Let me tell you how great God is. You ready for this? He'll let you pay your tithe on a credit card. So you're going to get points and pay your tithe. I put my child sponsorship on my credit card. I get points and I tithe. And I pay my child sponsorship. I give offerings in my church. We in our church, we have text to give. Y'all have text to give? I text to give. I text my tithe. I was in Africa last month. I text my tithe to my church while I'm in Africa. Then I text my offerings to my church while I was in Africa. And I got points for it. I stay in many hotels free. Because I put it on my card and give it to God. And God says, well, I'm going to bless you and let you pay to stay in this hotel free of charge tonight. Hello? My last little story is it. My last little story. This one here. You're going to love it. Right after the house got paid off, God spoke to me. A year later, God said, I'm going to give you a brand new car. So it was January. I told my wife, I said, baby, God's going to give me a new car. She said, well, did he say what he was giving us? I said, he didn't say nothing about us. He said me. I want to get that straight, sweetheart. Me. You got a good car. Your car's better than my car. God's going to give me a new car. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November went by, no car. My wife even bring it up to me at times. She would. She'd say, when you get in that car? I said, God said this year. She said, well, it hadn't happened. I said, get behind me. I didn't call her Satan. I just said, get behind me. I said, you ain't got no faith. God said it. It's going to happen. She said, okay. I was just curious. Well, let your curiosity rest. It's going to happen. December 31. Now, after I got the car, I asked God this. Why did you wait till the last minute? God said it wasn't my last minute. It was your last minute. That's what God says to me. See, I don't know how God talks to you. Some people think God's going to speak audibly. God does speak audibly, but let me tell you what. Most of the time, it's right here. 99% of the time, right there. You just have to know it's Him. Okay? So, guy calls me up that day. What you doing? Just sitting around. He said, God told me buy you a new car. Brother, you have heard from God. He said, what do you want? Now, immediately in my mind, I immediately went, Mercedes. I'll take a Mercedes. You know, that's a Mercedes for you that ain't Louisiana people. And then I thought, no, I'd love to have a Mercedes. I really would. But I thought, no. And then I got a friend that owns a dealership. And he told me the other day he'd sell me one at his cost. But it's $500, change oil. I said, you telling me if I bring here and get the oil change, you gonna charge, your shop's going to charge me $500? Well, we don't just change the oil. You know, we look at the tires. I said, well, I can look at the tires. I said, no, thank you. And I said, well, brother, whatever God tells you. I didn't get a Mercedes, but I got a Lexus. And I let God tell him. I said, I let God tell him. And then I gave my car away. Don't you dare get blessed and not bless somebody else. And I'm going to tell you this. This is my last thought right here. You will never be more like the God you serve until you do something for somebody that can never repay you. That's just the end of it. My last story. I'm sitting in my recliner. This happened just a few weeks ago. Sitting in my recliner. It's 9:45. I got on a pair of ugly pajama shorts somebody gave me. I don't know who gave them to me, but they're the ugliest. I wear them because somebody gave them to me. I don't know if it was my daughters, my dad, my mom. I don't know, but they're ugly. I had on a T-shirt that didn't even match them. I mean, didn't even come close to matching. I'm barefooted. And it hit me. You did not get bread and milk like you told your wife you would today. Oh, my Jesus. I knew the store is 5 minutes from my house. I thought I can jump up, run up there. They close at 10 o'clock. Ain't nobody going to be in there. Ain't nobody going to see me. I'll make it. I grabbed my wallet. I grabbed my money clip. I took off out the door, barefoot, those beautiful shorts on and that shirt that didn't match. Jumped in my car, got to the store, run in. As soon as I run in, I didn't see nobody. Nobody. One little cashier, teenage girl, and a little boy to bag your groceries. That's it. Pretty good sized store. I took off to the back where the bread was. I grabbed it, grabbed the milk. I'm headed back toward that cash register, and I see a woman going that way with a buggy full of groceries, like mounted over. I mean, just like a hump. I don't think she could have put nothing else in that buggy. And I thought, oh, Jesus. She beats me there, I'll be here 30 minutes waiting on that. I know y'all don't think this way, but I'm just telling you, the devil gives me thoughts too. I said, she's probably got 1,400 coupons. So I ran through the other aisle, and I ran down the back aisle. I thought, I can beat her. I get there, and just as I get there, she's coming across. Here's the aisle. She's coming across, and just as I get there, she sees me. She don't say, well, sir, I know you just got bread and milk. You just go ahead of me. Oh, no. No, ain't no Christian in her. I didn't say there wasn't no God. I said Christian. We use that word loosely sometimes. You a Christian? Oh, yeah, I'm a Christian. You go to church? Hadn't been in 20 years, but I'm a Christian. She cut right in front of me. I mean, didn't even say, excuse me. I'm standing there fuming. I know y'all wouldn't do this. Y'all too holy to do this. And the Lord said, calm down. Buy her groceries. I said, okay, Jesus. All right. You see, here's the thing about the Lord. He'll put you in situations so you can be blessed and have His favor increase in your life. So I'm trying to get the little girl's attention at the register. So I did like this. I took my money clip and I went like this. I said, now anybody should get that. I mean, I go, you, her, me, money clip. I'm paying. You know, get that. I thought, I know that kid's home, but her nightlight ain't on, brother. And so And that's what I thought. And so I did it again. And finally I did like this. You know, I'm back there doing this. There wasn't nobody else in the store, thank the Lord. And I'm just swaying with it. Finally she looks up and I go, she said, oh. I thought, thank you, Jesus. She got it. So when the lady started to pull out her card, the girl put her hand over the machine and said, no, ma'am, your groceries are already paid for. She turned and looked at me again in all of my glory. And she said to me, you did that. I said, no, I did not. I did not do that. See, I know what y'all thinking right now, lying preacher. No. I said, no, ma'am, God did that. I said, you see, he told me to buy your groceries. I don't know why he told me that, ma'am, but he did. And so you're blessed, and I'm going to be blessed because I blessed you. And she started crying. I said, don't, ma'am, please. You'll get me to cry. She said, I'm a single mom. And she said, my boys, we had all the groceries in the house were gone. And she said, I knew I could put it on the card, but I knew I couldn't pay for it when it came. And she said, I thought, Lord, what am I going to do? And she said, so I came up here and I got everything I needed. And I thought in my mind, you sure did. You sure did. I think you got some things in there you don't need. You know, I mean, that's just the way I thought. And I said, good. It was 100, I think 100, I don't know how many hundreds. It was a lot of money, but I don't care. It didn't matter. Same God that got it to me will get it through me, and he'll pay me back, and he did. Because 2 days later, I got a check in the mail, $500. And a letter, all it said was, this morning in prayer, God told me to send you $500. I don't know why you need it, and I don't care. God bless you. Signed their name. Somebody I knew. Because most time, if not all the time, when God's going to bless you, he's going to bless you through another child of God that'll listen to him. Amen? Stand with me, please.